Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how you can request a credit line increase on the Sam's Club MasterCard. And when I first started with this card, I was approved for the business credit card option, the no PG option. This was a few years ago. After that, I was approved for the PG version of the Sam's Club business card with a very high starting limit. And I liked the card so much, I applied for the personal credit card on April 12th of 2024, but I was only approved with a $1,000 credit limit. Fast forward to now, May of 2025, my current credit limit on this card on the personal side is $16,000. That is a 1,600% credit limit increase in a very short amount of time. So today, I'm going to go over step by step all the things that I did to get this limit increase and how you can replicate these exact same steps. Hopefully you'll get these same results as well and possibly increase your credit score along the way. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you have the Sam's Club store card or you have the Sam's Club MasterCard and you're interested in increasing your credit limit. But for some people who may not know, or it might be overlooked, the Sam's Club MasterCard isn't actually issued by Sam's Club. It's issued by Synchrony Bank. That means everything related to your credit limit increases, including approval decisions and credit checks, go through Synchrony, not Sam's Club. So why does this actually matter? Well, it matters because Synchrony has its own policies, its own algorithms, its own risk assessments, and understanding how they operate can help you craft a smarter strategy for requesting a credit limit increase. Now, Synchrony is known for offering automatic credit limit increases to responsible cardholders, but they also accept customer initiated requests, and that's where we come in. I've been dealing with Synchrony for a couple years now. There's a few credit cards that I've gotten, a few credit cards that I've been interested in, especially when it comes to the Sam's Club MasterCard, both personal and business. In my personal experience with Synchrony, they can be very generous with credit limit increases, but they do not like to see credit seeking activity or credit seeking behavior. If you have too many credit line increase requests in a short period of time or too many applications in a short period of time, this can trigger an adverse action, in which case they might actually close your new account or even reduce your credit limit, which if you're familiar with Synchrony, then I'm sure you've heard the stories. That being said, Synchrony has a threshold of how much credit exposure they like to see. And although I can't point you to any concrete evidence where I can say this is for sure, the general consensus is that the exposure limit for most people is $100,000 max across all Synchrony cards. However, if you do some research on Synchrony in the last few years or so, they have done credit line decreases and closures for accounts that have met this max threshold. So it looks like in the last few years, they've been trying to consolidate some accounts that have had massive limits, and they've also closed accounts with little to no activity. So just be aware that that is something that does happen with Synchrony. So as you're requesting these credit line increases, I would just keep in mind that you might want to stay under the maximum exposure limit. And you also may want to use the card, with good activity and make sure that you're actually getting them their money's worth for giving this much credit limit to your account. Because if not, I wouldn't be surprised if the account got closed for some or even decreased for others. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to keep in mind that credit scores, money, period, is a fictitious thing. At this point, it's just something that for me, I just use to get exactly what I need as a resource in order to get to where I want to go in my life as far as being able to live financially free or whatever that looks like. So, whether they give me an increase, they decrease it, it doesn't matter. This is just one option. I can go to many other banks, do the same thing. Knowing how a system works will allow you to manipulate that system to your whims. So, again, if increase, decrease, not a big deal. It's just always something to keep in perspective. Now, to get into more detail about how I was able to do this and increase my credit limit by 1,600%. Timing is key. Timing is really everything with this. So asking for a credit limit increase at the right time is how this strategy will work. So when is the right time? to make this request? Well, I'm going to give you the exact timeline of when I requested each credit line increase. And then once I give you the timeline, I'll talk about what this means as far as organizing this information into a strategy that I believe others can replicate. A few things I really want to point out that I think are important data points. Number one, I never missed a payment. I've never carried a balance over. Everything was always paid in full every month, not to zero. I paid my previous statement balance is what I'm trying to say. Every time I requested an increase, I always went to the online website for my Synchrony credit card, the Sam's Club card, and I would update my annual revenue every time I requested an increase. I also never called or used the chat function to initiate this increase. I always did it on the website and requested it that way. Never called, never chat. So let's take a look at my very first credit limit increase. It was for $1,000. I went from $1,000 to $2,000, a 100% increase on June 19th of 2024. That was exactly 68 days after my account was opened. The next credit line increase was $2,000, another 100% increase from $2,000 to $4,000, and that was on September 20th, 2024, 150 days after account opening. My third credit limit increase was from $4,000 to $8,000. I'm sure you see a pattern. This was a 100% increase, 272 days after account opening. And then the fourth one was a credit limit increase of $8,000 to $16,000 on May 3rd, 2025, 383 days after account opening. Now, what does this actually mean? If we just look at this information, it might seem random, but there was actually a strategy that I put in place when requesting these credit limit increases. And this is something that I learned when I had my first Sam's Club business MasterCard. Now, I learned you can request a credit limit increase after opening your account within 2 statement cycle dates. Now, notice I didn't say 60 days, not 2 months, 2 statement cycle dates. All right. That's around 68 days because normally it takes about a week for your statement cycle date to close. After that, you have to wait 3 statement cycles in order to request a credit limit increase. And I learned this because I started to request a credit line increase 90 days, but then I would get denied. The denial reason remained the exact same. It was something along the lines of, you haven't been at this current line long enough, but something like that. So what I started doing is requesting it every 3 statement cycles. But remember, you have to wait until your statement cycle date closes, which is usually 8 days later. I always requested way more than what my limit was. So on the first credit limit increase, I requested $10,000. On the second, it was also $10,000 that I requested. On the third, same thing again, I did $10,000. Now, because I knew I wanted way more than just, and from what I could tell, they only give you a 100% increase. It won't be any more than that. I requested around $25,000 for the next increase. Now, I have no way to confirm this, but I believe that Synchrony will probably cap this credit card at around $25,000. There's no way for me to confirm that. The only reason why I think that is because with the Sam's Club business card, that seemed to be the maximum limit that I had ever seen was $25,000. Not to say that there aren't, anyone that may have more, that's possible. But I believe that it's $25,000 because that's the highest that I've personally seen. And that's where I'm going to shoot for next. So I'll be able to update this within a few months and let you know if I was able to go from 16,000 to 25,000. Now, if they gave me, let's say 32,000, then for me, that would suggest that I can go even higher, but I don't believe that's going to be the case. So I'm going to request probably 40,000 on my next credit limit increase in the next few months. And then I'll come back and update this so you guys will have an idea about where this thing might actually max out. So from so much trial and error, I believe this gives Synchrony's algorithm time to evaluate your payment history, your spending pattern, and how you manage your current credit line. It also helps to have a few strong months of payment activity under your belt. So if you've been paying on time, keeping your balances low, using the card regularly, you're in a great position, all right? Consistent use shows that you value the account with responsible payments, signal that you're a very low risk. So with this, I never used a majority of the credit line. I never did anything too huge. I at least go to Sam's Club or use the card for Sam's Club purchases for the most part, at least 2 times a month. So it wasn't like a bunch of activity. I didn't spend several thousands of dollars. Usually it was no more than, I think the highest balance ever was maybe $1,000, and anything else has been lower. All right. I just use it consistently, make sure to make my payments in full on time. And that's pretty much all that I did. But don't forget, increase that annual revenue as often as possible, or at least every time you go to request a credit limit increase. All right, let's talk about how to submit this request. So I'm going to go to the Sam's Club Synchrony Bank website so we could look at the account, and I can give you step-by-step instructions how I would suggest you submit this request. So the first thing you need to do is go to samsclub.syf.com, and you'll be taken to the login screen for Sam's Club to access your credit card account. Once you're logged in, you'll be taken to a screen that looks like this. It'll have your current balance, your available to spend, your payment due date, or anything like that in regards to your account. What you're going to look for first is at the very top of the screen, should be the right hand side. You'll look for manage profile. You'll want to click on that. When you get to manage profile, if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see income and you'll see annual net income. You'll want to edit that information, and you're going to want to update your annual net income before you request a credit limit increase. All right. So whatever your current amount is, I would increase it maybe gradually. You know, like if you're at $50,000 a year, you've gotten a bonus or something like that, go ahead and raise it up $60,000, you know, something that's relatively close, but can show that you are making more money to warrant this credit limit increase. All right, now that you've updated your annual income, the next thing you want to do is look for this option that says more. It's gonna have 3 dots. And then you're going to click on account services. When you get to the account services screen, you'll have an option that says credit limit increase. You'll want to click on that. And this section is very, very simple. It'll show your current limit. It'll ask for your desired limit. So enter the total credit limit that you want to request. I would suggest always asking for more than what you really want. So not now, but let's say in the next 3 statement cycle dates, I'm going to ask for 40,000. And then I will enter my annual net income. Enter the same annual net income that you just updated. And then you would click on request increase. It's that simple, guys. If you are denied, you will get an adverse action letter in the mail, but you'll also get an email. I would suggest you open that up and read it. If it says anything that has to do with your credit score, now that is one thing I do want to point out that I did not talk about. My credit score had just been increasing every time I use this. I also got credit limit increases on other cards as I was going through this process. So if you got approved for this card, I'm assuming that you had pretty good credit. If you are in a position now where your credit might be kind of shaky, I don't suggest you requesting this limit increase yet. I suggest that you get your credit score either back to where it was or even higher. Also making sure that the utilization between all of your credit cards is below 10%. It could be 30, but ideally 10% is like the best case. Again, if your credit is shaky, and I believe they might do a soft pull on TransUnion, it doesn't make sense. You might as well wait. If it's the same and it has not changed, and you know your credit cards are nice low balances as you know in relative to what your credit limit available is, then cool, you're good to go. Submit that. If not, then just give it some time. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This video is kind of niche. I don't really think a lot of people are really checking for this, but what I can say is for me personally, I've been dealing with this card for many years because of the business side. So for me, I've done a lot of research, and it's hard to find anyone that's talked about this specific thing, but I believe this same strategy will work with all Synchrony cards. So if you have any other of the Synchrony back cards, I do believe that this will work for you. And just like with someone like Navy Federal, I do like that they give credit limit increases at the rate that they do. But honestly, if we talk about frequency of increases, I think Synchrony Bank is probably better, honestly, in terms of limit increases. Now with those account closures and those decreases, like I said, this is just credit. That's why if you have this card, you should have maybe 2 or 3 other cards that you can then lean on. That's just how everything works. Know what I mean? At any point in time, they can decrease, take it away. It's just a line of credit. It's something that can just happen. So there's no way that you can say whether or not it will or won't happen to you. It could happen to me. But for what they do offer and the amount of exposure, I may get maybe 1 or 2 more Synchrony cards to try to get the maximum before I then say, okay, that's enough. I'm not going to get any more of these cards, or I'm not going to really use them anymore. But I do think that it is nice that you can increase your limit from $1,000 to this amount in a short period of time. And in the next few months, if I went from 1,000 to 25,000, hey, I think that's pretty cool. I think that that's, really, really great. And on a quick side note, if anybody clicked this video because of the Sam's Club Business MasterCard, the no PG option, I went to 2 different Sam's Club stores. I was not able to do it. I don't believe that the people there don't know how to pull up the application. I don't think they just don't know what they're doing. I've seen letters that people have been getting about doing a PG for their no PG cards. I've seen it. I don't believe the no PG Sam's Club option is available at this time. I don't know if that's going to be indefinite, but I don't believe that it's available at this time. Now, if there's anyone that's gotten the Sam's Club no PG business credit card in 2025, like you've actually gotten it and have been approved, send me an email, show me that you've gotten approved and it's the no PG option. I would love to know that information, because then I can make an updated video. But from what I can see right now, I haven't seen anyone that's gotten approved for a no PG option since the beginning of 2024. Have not seen it. And it's also not available in store, and you can't do it online. I've seen the things where everyone said, put in you establish your business before the year 2000 or 2000. That doesn't work. So if anyone can confirm, then awesome. I would love to make an update to that video for everyone so they can get approved. But, I would need to, be able to confirm that it does actually still work. But again, from what I can tell, the research that I've done, and even calling Synchrony, it does not exist anymore. Hopefully that answers that question for anyone that may have had that. And hopefully that answers the question for credit line increases with this particular card. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and you guys have a wonderful day.